you ever had a dream? Have you ever chased that dream? Did you fail or did you succeed? And why did you fail? And how can you succeed? All will be asked and answered in today's episode. Episode number 17 of Through Deep Waters, the Young Nations podcast, with our very special guest, Ahmad Mansour. Today, it's a pleasure having you, bro.
Thanks for having me today, guys.
Appreciate you coming on, man.
Always a pleasure. Been following your podcast and always wanted to jump on, and now's my chance. So
of course,
it's a
bro.
privilege.
Of course.
I appreciate it.
Your
Privilege
perspective
is ours,
is going to be super valuable for us because of like your background and where you come from, where you've been through and stuff like that. So we're really, really excited to have you on as well.
Appreciate
so, yeah. With that being said,
First and foremost, how do you sleep at night?
Knowing
that he supports Manchester City. Anyone who knows anything about football, already click off the podcast. Don't even watch the rest of this.
I have to give my part. So, Manchester City, great club. We'll say Arab oil money has helped us out, but like shout out to my Arabs in Qatar. Like I really appreciate it.
It's the UAE. The sponsors are Emirati.
Oh really?
Yeah.
This guy doesn't even know who's.
I got mixed up.
Wow.
Anyways,
that's kind of
Gulf
crazy
countries, they definitely all work in unity. Nonetheless, though, I'm a big fan of Guardiola. The way every club he goes to, like they play his style. He engraves it in their DNA. And look at the players he developed. Joshua Kimmich brought the best out of Lionel Messi. You got Phil Foden. He brings the best out of his players, so that's the type of team I want to follow.
So did you have a Barca phase and a Bayern phase as well?
Of course. Well, growing up, my dad always had Barcelona on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
2008 to 2012, their prime era.
Yeah.
And they won everything. And when you watch that, like Guardiola, he set the bar so high. It's like I always had to follow him after that. He left to Bayern Munich. I packed my suitcase. I went with him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I guess he came to my city for a bit then and had to dip from there. Bro.
I guess I hate that a little less. I still don't like it.
But let's keep it real though. That man is never gonna win a Champions League final. Never gonna win in the Champions League.
Yeah, Toure curse.
Yeah, Toure curse.
Yeah.
So if we can get an African shaman to like lift that curse, then we might be lucky. We have Erling Haaland coming in, so hopefully.
Haaland's gonna get injured halfway through the season. He's gonna miss the semifinals.
I'll tell you something. You can bring Haaland, Mbappe, whatever players you want to bring into that club. As long as Guardiola is the manager at that club, they're not winning the Champions League.
I don't think Guardiola's the problem. I think.
And
I stand by this. Money will not buy a Champions League. A massive influx of cash and spending hundreds of millions a season is not going to win you a Champions League.
It's true.
Talent wins you a Champions League.
But the money is buying talent. You are not spending money on.
But you can't just.
There was a quote from back in the days, like way back. Remember when Mancini was the city manager? So when he was coaching, he's not a bad manager, right? Mancini,
great manager.
He's
just
a good,
won the Euros as well,
right? So he's a good manager, and he made a comment at the time where they asked him like about Man City's defensive scheme, their defensive plan, right? And he literally said word for word with all the talent they had. Company, they had like all these talented defenders, and he said word for word, Manchester City is not advanced enough to man mark, something along those lines.
Yeah.
We're not good enough to man mark. What that tells me is it's not about talent, it's about the chemistry that didn't develop in the team.
Yeah.
Then
look at United this year, bro. They have 11 superstars. They don't have a team.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Money can't buy you anything.
You're right. You need a coach who can bring everyone together.
Look at what Klopp did.
10
Klopp,
superstars.
That's a manager, bro. Klopp is a manager.
Sorry, Man United has 10 superstars.
We heard you.
Harry Maguire is not getting counted.
Does not count.
That man is a fringe.
You think he's getting sold? I think he's getting sold.
I think he's losing the captaincy. I don't know
100%.
If I'm Manchester United's sporting director, I'm not selling.
They don't have a sporting director.
Whoever is
donating him for free.
Bro, give me 2 junior chickens and a Diet Pepsi. He's gone. Take him, bro. Like what? Anyways,
so we're all big football fans. We also all grew up playing the sports. Some of us more than others. Some of us at a much higher level than others.
Thank you. Yeah,
I'm speaking about myself.
I want to just put it out there. I trained professionally at the club at Soccer Circus in UAE. Okay, please respect. And actually, I trained professionally as well. I got inversely paid. So I got inversely paid to train at the Manchester United Academy for football. Okay. So yeah, please put some respect on my name.
Moving on.
I love it.
So yeah. Me and Ahmed, obviously, we're a much higher level. I like to think that we're very on par. Maybe I pull away a little bit in terms of skill and ability,
Everyone needs a role model, and that's how I see Hussein.
Exactly,
So,
you know,
someone
like,
just to
he
chase
just-
and look after.
And you could
What can I
tell
say?
from this very basic interaction who's actually the better football player and who's not.
Listen,
Somebody's secure and somebody isn't. That's all I gotta say.
Secure.
all I'm
Yeah.
saying, if I didn't
all I'm
injure my
saying, I have
ACL,
two knees. I have two knees. You have one and maybe a half.
maybe
You
I
know,
have.
so-
If I never injured my ACL, you catch me.
If it wasn't for
I would
my-
be
if-
I would
if
be
he-
in France right now getting ready for the Champions League final.
Bro,
That's
if
all
he
I'm
never
saying.
injured his ACL, he would have been a boxer, he would have been a lawyer, a
It would've
doctor.
been, yeah, a breed of Mike Tyson, Mbappe, just
What
all
can
of
I
it mixed
say?
together.
What can I say? But no, actually, we are sitting in the midst of a professional football player. That's why this is I'm gonna love this episode because Ahmed's actually living my dream. But how did this start? What age did you start playing? What was your journey in terms of football?
From your upbringing, take us all the way back.
Yeah, I mean, like
Where'd you grow up?
Like I grew up in Hamilton.
Okay.
So growing
It's a
up
city
Hamilton,
in Canada.
Yeah, a city here in Ontario, and you know, having just Lebanese background, Lebanese parents, you know, football is in our blood. So I was born, like I told these guys, I was born with a ball at my foot. Football is always on the TV, and my dad would always kick around with us in the park. It's just something that was engraved in us as we grew up. And then, for example, like my brother went over to basketball, and I kind of stuck with this sport. It's always been a passion growing up. Played in every team, starting like at 4 years old, all the way up until now. Like I never took a break from it, and ended up getting a scholarship to the University of Waterloo and being able to play on the varsity team here. It was a great experience, you know, managing your schoolwork and also being representing the school as a varsity athlete. It was a great experience overall. I met, you know, my teammates now that are my brothers, and just learned a lot from that program as well. Time management, it kind of developed me as a person all around, you know.
What did you study at Waterloo?
I studied kinesiology, so
Which is
it's-
not easy at
yeah.
all, by the way.
At the University of Waterloo, it's actually a Bachelor of Science. So at other schools, it's a Bachelor of Arts. So yeah, they make it a bit tougher here in Waterloo, but
You still
it's-
gotta take math, physics, chemistry courses,
all
all
of
that
that,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
You get it out of the way in the first 2 years, but all around, like it's a bit tricky, but you know it goes hand in hand with playing football because it's just athletics all around. Kinesiology being the physiology and movement of the body, and then you really are able to use your background knowledge from playing sports and athletics your whole life, put them together, and it just, you know, they feed off each other. So it's perfect. Yeah.
Did you ever consider like declaring for MLS draft?
So the thing with MLS draft, the way it works is you need to be in playing Division 1 in the United States, and
You have to?
yeah, like the schools there are kind of partnered with the MLS in the draft. Now
But isn't that the same thing with the NBA? But like you can still declare from overseas.
it's a bit different because it's literally called like MLS Super Draft, and it's only from NCAA schools. Yeah. So the thing with that is I did, you know, in grade 11 and 12 is the recruiting years where you have a lot of scouts at your games watching you to try and persuade you to come on a scholarship to the States. I did have a couple offers in grade 11 and 12, but they came late. One to mention was Vermont. It was a good D1 program, but the problem was they weren't offering 100% scholarship. It was around 80-85%. The money like myself and my parents would end up paying would almost be equivalent to what I'd be paying here, just because you know tuition fees in America are ridiculous. So I got a couple offers here in Ontario, and it was a good distance, close to home, but not too close, where I can go and get my own university experience. They helped me out with the scholarship, cover a bit of my tuition, and just kind of stick around my family, not go too far away. So everything was a win-win. I was able to study at a great institution, get a great degree overall. So at the end of the day, I have no regrets about the decision I ended up making.
That's good. Alhamdulillah. bro.
Alhamdulillah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then you ended up. So how was your transition into pro football? What exactly
So if
happened?
it wasn't
there?
the MLS draft, what was it?
Yeah, so how it happened was I know I had a couple of years playing here in university under my belt, and I also played in League 1 Ontario, which is the biggest league around here. It's the second division, so it's called semi-pro. And I had a highlight tape. It was a reel of all my good clips, you know, just kind of my playing style, my CV was on there.
What position do you play?
I'm a center back, yeah. Just to
That's
throw that out
literally
there.
the most boring.
There's nothing boring about
Besides
it.
goalkeeper?
You know,
Leadership, You gotta save the team. Like
It just means
my
he can't
goal is to stop
dribble.
yours.
He became a center back because he can't dribble and he can't shoot.
In street football, when we play with our friends, the center back's always the shittest player. I know because I was the center back all the time.
Listen, the thing is, there's this idea of a defender being just like having two concrete feet, standing at the back and just making crunches. The modern day center back has to be able to
agree.
dribble out of the back, build like the offense starts with the defense. How are you gonna build up a play and score goals without keeping the ball?
Let me ask you a question. Be completely honest with me. Is it easier to attack? Is it easier to play as a striker or a center back?
Striker or a center back?
See, I think striker.
You think striker's easier?
Let me get your opinion first, and then I'll kind of chime in.
Or let me change it. Sorry, I'll change it quickly. Attacker or defender in general?
Attacker.
Easier attacker?
Here, let me tell you why. I'll give you an example. Take any not a great striker, but any normal striker. Like take for example, I don't know, Haaland or whoever. Like somebody who's older, like I can Ibrahimovic for example, right? Yeah. How many shots do you remember Ibrahimovic missing? Do you remember like in your memory ingrained like a crazy open goal or some shit? Like I'm sure he's had some misses, right? But when Boateng got nutmegged by Messi that one time, and that's it. As he's done.
Because there's
so are you saying
beating.
It's harder to be?
It's harder to be a defender because with
I'm not talking about scrutiny.
It doesn't matter though because it goes into it. Because if you're a defender, if you're a striker and you make a mistake, the most consequence is we lost the attack. If you're a defender and you make a mistake, there's a direct danger on your goal.
Okay, clearly you don't know ball. What's your opinion?
No. Okay, I actually he hit it right on the nail.
The professional agrees.
Nobody here knows ball, bro.
The professional agrees with
I'll explain it from my side, kind of like you said it. So, if you're an attacker or a winger, center attacking mid, and you have a game where you don't create chances. Someone else on the attack might step up, get a lucky goal, score it for you. Now on the defender side, if I'm a center back, I have the ball, I slip on wet grass. The striker takes it and scores. I am the reason they scored solely. There's no one around me.
No one can cover for you because
all eyes are on me, and I might even if I do it again, I might get subbed. If a center mid makes a poor pass, misses a pass, misses a cross, nice, good luck, get it next time. Okay, my bad. Center back, I slipped or I pass it to the attacker, and he goes on a breakaway. I put my head down. I have nothing to say because he hit it bang on the nail. The danger that comes from the mistake.
Because think about it, you're in a 4 defender formation or a 3 defender formation.
This is what I'm gonna do.
An attacker makes a mistake.
I'm gonna flip this all over. I'm gonna use every word you guys said against you.
Okay, an attacker makes a mistake. Who's behind him?
Wait, your phone's broken?
My cover is broke.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm only gonna use your words. Okay, and I'm gonna refer you back to the question: what's easier to do, attacking or defending? Not what has more pressure, not what has more responsibility. What is an easier action, the action of defending or the action of attacking? Why is it so excusable when an attacker misses? Because it's harder to score as an attacker than it is to defend as a defender. For example, as a defender, you are reacting to the creativity of the attacker. An attacker is only good if he can be creative and he can outsmart the defender. That is why it's harder to attack than it is to defend. That's why there's a lot more shots missed than shots scored. There's a lot more attacks breaking down than defense is breaking down. In terms of responsibility, yes. If you let a goal in, that's on you. It's solely your responsibility as the center back. But that's because it's so much harder to concede than it is to score. When he scored on you, it's because he beat you. And I use your words against you. Nobody tell me
Harvey Specter. Breathe. Okay, listen. I disagree. Okay, then this is the last we're gonna say on it before we move on. But I think, look, if you're an attacker, right, and I'm not even gonna use the argument of put an attacker in defense and put a defender in attack and see what happens. Leave all that alone, right?
That's so stupid.
That's stupid, right? Leave that alone. If you're an attacker, right, and let's say for example you're running a 4-2-3-1 formation, right?
He's gonna try to get smart because I say he doesn't know ball.
No, wallah. Like genuinely, if you're the top striker in that position, let's say you miss and there's a rebound or something. There's 3 behind you. Hold on. You have backup. There's 3 behind you that can make up for it. So it's not like you're not as pressured or as scrutinized to make that play correctly.
We're not talking about pressure and scrutiny.
No, because that's also a part of how hard it is.
I'm talking about the physical action.
If I'm in a defender, I'm in a 4 defender formation, right? If somebody passes me,
guy
Yeah.
passes me, bro.
Somebody passes
Listen.
me, bro. Like that's it. There's nobody else in my corner.
We'll settle it. We'll settle it as We'll talk about this later. But
Well, yeah, we'll continue this
You
off
made some
camera.
good points. You made some good points. I'm a little biased, obviously, as a defender. So
Anyone
we're not
who's
gonna
watching-
reach a fair final verdict. But we can voice our opinions later.
Anyone who's watching, if you want to put a comment down below, if you want to
Yeah.
DM us and let us know your opinions.
It's a big question.
Anybody who wants to admit that I'm right, send me a text, send through the reporters a text, send Ahmed a text, because we all know at the end of the day who's right. But, so yeah, you didn't declare for the MLS. You didn't go to any colleges in the States.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do and how did you go pro?
Yeah, so like I said, in terms of the MLS draft, it's more catering to the NCAA Division I schools in the States. So since I didn't go that way, that was kind of out of the picture. There's Toronto FC, but you kind of have to be with the academy and move up the ranks.
So Toronto FC doesn't go with the MLS draft?
You don't have to be drafted. You can still be signed.
Yeah, they do. They can
okay.
sign. It's just like you have homegrown players who are with the academy and they get their chance to move up.
So the draft is like the top talent, and outside of that, you can get signed still.
Yeah.
Like in the NBA, you can sign players from overseas.
Yeah,
they don't
like
have to be in
free
the draft.
agents technically.
Oh,
It's just that Division One is the greatest exposure to them because it's a feeder right into the draft.
Makes sense.
Okay, but yeah, like I said, so I had a highlight clip put together. It had my resume and everything together, and it got posted on this very popular like social media blog. It's the biggest one around here in Canada. It's called FTF Canada. Shout out FTF Canada, SS Visuals, and basically it got posted on their platform and it hit over like 1.5k views, and it was actually on Instagram. I had a connect reach out to me and said, I saw your nationality said dual citizenship, Canadian, Lebanese. Have you ever thought about pursuing any opportunities in Lebanon? And would you be able to represent like their youth national team and see if that's something you want to try? And like it really caught me off guard because we were in the middle of a pandemic. I was in my third year and I'm so focused on school right now. Pro soccer was always a dream, but it's like I was kind of giving more attention to school at that point.
At that point, so you decided not to go to the States. That wasn't an option. You were in your third year. Before you get that call, are you thinking now, I might have to venture into something that's not pro football?
Yeah, like I can definitely say it was more, I'm shifting towards like, okay, what am I going to do after this undergrad? I'm starting to look at graduate schools, like more careers in the kinesiology Bachelor of Science path. Because I kind of said like even the pandemic from not playing threw a bit of my motivation away. Everything was put on pause. So it's like when you stop playing for so long, you kind of just lose that passion, and it was shifting away, but like, God's timing, right? And God has everything planned.
SubhanAllah.
Alhamdulillah. So that was basically a message to me, like, you're not done yet, you gotta keep going. And motivation came back just like that, and I started to buy into it. So it turns out this Connect, my agent, he's based out of Ottawa. He had really good connections in Lebanon, and he was able to get my highlight tape over there, send it over, and have a look. I have this player in Canada. He does have a passport and citizenship through his parents. If you guys want to give him a shot, he's a quality player. Like he came and saw me. He watched me play here in Canada, so he was really vouching for me, and he has a reputation on the line as well. If I go to Germany and I have connects there and I say, Hassan, I have this great player, and I send him there, and Hassan does what he does best and just doesn't perform, that's my reputation.
Wow.
That's my reputation on the line, right? So anything I say after that, they might not bite on it. They might say, oh, we gave you a chance. Mm-hmm. So he sent it over, and it just happened that like they were looking for young defenders. I was 20 at the time, and they said, okay, yeah, like we like him from the tape. He's got some experience here in Canada. Like, you know what? Why not? So they ended up it was a club in Lebanon. It's called Ansar, and they're in the first division, and they were the reigning champions of the previous year. Okay. So it was crazy how it went right to the top team, and it was like I was kind of like, it's like a lot of pressure, like going straight to the top team. I thought I would land in like a mid-table. Someone would want to take a chance on me there, but they liked what they saw. It's just a video. Now it's like, okay, can you come out here and perform like you did? So yeah, they took great care of me. A couple weeks later, I had sent to my email. It was a Air France ticket, go to France, land in France, and then all the way off to
Wow.
Beirut, Lebanon. So everything,
All expenses paid,
everything,
and then you got a
everything.
salary
They
too.
took
Yeah.
care of you, huh?
Everything was covered. That's the best part about it. These professional teams, they take good care of their players, and that's a big thing with my having Arab parents. It's like they're a bit sketchy about everything, and of course they're
Oh, and
pushing.
he was like, they were like, it's not gonna happen.
They were a bit sketched out by it. Like, is this really real? Lebanon's kind of going through economic crisis. How do they have all this money? But the owners of these clubs are international
They're not
businessmen.
Lebanese,
Like
yeah.
they pump money into these clubs. So I think it was when my parents saw the actions that were being taken, how they got me a ticket. They had hotel and everything ready when I landed, a driver. They started to buy into it more. Like, you know what? We're in the middle of online schooling. You should go pursue it, check it out, and see if it's for you. So I had their full support, and before I never thought I would, because they were pushing me a bit towards focus on your education.
Did you
get
have
a
to
job.
fight for their support, or did you just have it?
At first, I had to fight. At first, it was more my dad's always looking out for my best interest, but I think he speaks more from his experience as well. He never really grew up in competitive sports like that. He just kind of played for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing your son, you want to look for their best interest and say, okay, why not? You're already invested into school. Why don't you carry on with that? You'll get a bang career. This might not work for you, and you might waste your time. But like I told you, over time, everything started to fall into place, and my mom was able to talk to my dad. My uncles were able to, spit some sense into him as well. Kind of just have him open up, because at the end of the day, it's my dad's call. I have so much respect for him that I kind of want to just abide by him and just like make him happy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to break any relationship with him.
That's
for
what
my own interest.
I'm like that a lot, in the sense that, like, my dad always give me the freedom to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
But I will not do something without his approval. Same with my
course,
mother,
of course.
like it's
Yeah.
that's one thing that's beautiful about
Approval. That's like exact what I was looking
what
for.
is, like, especially in Arab culture, like the slightly older Arab culture was very like, you do what I say and I'm telling you what to do.
And you have no choice.
But now
You could
what
be like a
I'm
grown-ass man, like a 35-year-old man, and
Yeah,
like
that's still
doing what
past
your parents say,
generations,
yeah.
and they'll still tell you what to do, and you respect it. But
Yeah.
the thing I think is, like, the question is, do I have your blessing? They'll
That's
tell you
the-
do what
that's
you
one.
want, but do I have your blessing?
They can say do what you want, and they might be upset by it as well. But it's like, I want to make him happy, and I want him to feel like I'm in a good position to pursue this, instead of he's a lost kid. He's just
Yeah.
chasing after a blank dream. But we sat down, and between the time from getting the opportunity to actually flying out, we sat down a couple times and just talked about it, saw if it made sense, talked about the future, and by the end of it, it was, fully support you. I hope you go out there and kill it. If you're given this opportunity and they're investing in you, you have to go out and give them everything you can.
Mhm.
So, and I gave him my word, I'm going to go out there and give him my all, and that's all it took. So,
Did you? I'm gonna say a story, and I'm gonna ask you if you had anything similar.
yeah.
When I was much younger, I was still competing. I played for a club, whatever. I was like in the football team, and I had this one tournament, and my dad was free. He didn't have work, so he was like, "I'll come watch." I played so terribly that I could tell. He never said it, but I could tell my dad would think "Why do you even play football? You're ass, you're shit. Why do you even play?" Bro, I played really bad. I remember I even asked to get subbed off just because I was playing so bad. My dad came to me, was like, did you just fucking ask to get subbed off? And I was like,
So why am I paying for this?
exactly. And he never said anything, but I always got that impression from him that
Yeah.
he does not rate me as a footballer. And
Okay, first of all, that's not true. Let's put it out there. Baba rates you as a footballer.
no, I think he does now, because
He changed his
during
mind.
the pandemic, that was the next time he saw me play. I was playing with my friends. I was like, "Baba, come play with us." And that was when I that time I played really well. And after that, he was talking to me. He was like, "Shit, you're actually pretty good." And that's when I was like, so my question: did you have any feeling that your dad didn't rate you as a footballer? And did that change at any point? Was there like a moment in which you were like, you know what, I think he believes in me truly?
Yeah, so it's actually I can relate to that a lot because when I was younger, around probably 14 years old, I was riding the bench on one of my teams, just like a local club.
That's tough.
I was riding the bench, and it was kind of because at that time I was a midfielder, and I didn't really have the stamina. I didn't really fit the role, and my parents would drive me out to Toronto. We'd go for an hour and a half ride just to watch me play like 5 minutes, and that kind of gave them the idea like he doesn't really like. Of course I'm younger. I'm 14, 15 years old, but like he might not have a future in the sport. Another example, this is connecting right to Michael Jordan. In grade 9, in my freshman year of high school, I got cut from the varsity soccer team. High school team, man. This isn't even varsity or anything. This isn't university varsity.
When I was in high school, I was the captain. That's all I'm saying.
Anyways,
before I hurt my knee.
Just want to shed some light on the end of that story. Grade 10 end up making the team. Grade 11 make the team, named captain, win city finals.
Okay, never mind.
Go to the tournament. Grade 12, captain again. Win the city final again. Fell short of going to national tournaments. So, anyways, like it just goes to show like some players develop at different ages. I had guys that I was playing with when I was younger. They were the all-stars, but they were the all-stars at 12, 13 years old. And now if you look at them, they're not playing anymore. They're working, or like even at 16, they started to fall off a little. Because everyone went through maturity and the growth spurts and caught up, like the physicality matched up with them.
So what age is it too late to consider? Because a lot of us have these football dreams, especially like coming from where we come from, like Arab countries, Arab parents, like Arab kids. A lot of us grow up around football and we have football dreams. So what age is too old, or when is it too late to start working towards the professional career in that dream?
It's a very, very deep question, but I'll relate it to this. So Arsene Wenger, the Arsenal legend, he said, usually the developmental stage for footballers in terms of technical and physical is between 14 and 16.
Okay.
Like he has seen the academies, he's overseen development. So, I mean, that's a guy in a high position stating that quote. But I would say like, it's an answer where it's like it's different for everyone. You know what I mean? Like it's all about your drive and motivation, but it's also that physical development that's a huge part.
Can you start at 23, 24?
Start from scratch? No, never. No.
Yeah,
but then you also
need the coordination and foundation that's kind of built through your youth career that adds to that. I don't think you can just throw someone in at 23, 24. But I could be wrong. There could be someone out there right now.
Jamie Vardy.
Wrong. Yeah, Jamie Vardy like started playing pro late.
Yeah, but he always played.
Yeah, like there are some guys that play in the semi-pro ranks up until like 24, 25, and then they get a pro opportunity late in their career, and they make something out of it. But these aren't guys that are just thrown in at 25, 26 years old, never touch a sport, and then they become pros. No, they have a youth background. They've been playing with maybe lower tier clubs, and then they get a chance late in life, but they make the most out of it.
So what would you say is like the age where you have somebody who wants to be like a football player? What age is the time for you to like come sit them down and be like, maybe it's time for something else?
Maybe it's time for something else.
Like they really want to, the max they've played is like I don't know, soccer circus, like a football, like a academy where you pay and train.
Maybe you should try something else.
I know, I've given up
I'm
a long time.
I'm gonna say like in between the early to not mid-20s, but like on the lower scale, 23, 24. Like around then, it's a little harder to kind of get that exposure, get your name out there.
So if you're 20, are you gunning for like, okay, go for a last opportunity if you've been working up to it? If you're 20?
Bro, a big selling point for teams is youth. You lose your youth.
But is 20 too old is my question.
So, okay, here's what I'll say. A lot of teams, I'll highlight Germany. Like Werder Bremen, for example. They have your first team, and then they have Werder Bremen under 23. So that's kind of where I would cap it off. Same with me, for example, like El Montakhab, national team in Lebanon, national team under 23. So 23 is basically like that. That is your.
If by 23 you haven't.
Might be a cutoff. But I don't want to say that to like push off a lot of guys' dreams out there who are working towards it.
It's just like the physical limits of it.
It's just kind of like, we'll say, the the general cutoff. But there's no set one. Like, you know, someone might just kind of skyrocket and progress at later in life, and some people kind of pick it up earlier. It's different for everyone. So yeah.
I want to ask you something that I've dealt with a lot as an athlete. How do you deal with, if you even get, performance anxiety?
Yeah, how do you handle the pressure?
Because I get it so much more in football than in boxing, but like, it takes me about 10 minutes into the game to start performing. Because before kickoff, I always get these butterflies, and I feel like throwing up. But then after like 10 minutes in, I start like coming into it.
Yeah, so you have to think the professionals that we watch on TV, Sergio Ramos.
Yeah.
You think, you know, before a huge game in La Liga or Champions League, like, you know, his nerves are up. You think he's just... I think it happens to all the professional players as well. But Damian Lillard, basketball player, said it the best. Like, pressure is for the single mom who is struggling to put food on the table. Like the homeless man looking for their next meal. We're going in to put in a performance. It's something that you guys have trained through all week. Everything is structured and laid out for you to succeed. It's just something you have to like build and overcome. Just know that it's something in your head. And honestly, when the ref blows the whistle and you start to ease in the first couple minutes of the game, I promise you all the feels and pressure goes
100%.
away. But I know the build up to a game, to a very important match, like, you're feeling the nerves. It's human nature. You know, everyone feels this, but it's kind of about settling in. And people have routines to kind of deal with that, you know, pre-game routine.
Do you have one?
Yeah, 100%. So it's kind of like, I'll watch my favorite center back. I'll watch their highlight clip.
Who's your favorite center back?
Favorite center back of all time, I was talking about him. It's Sergio Ramos. Captain, leader, animal, trophy winner. Just hit
Guy
check.
who took Mohamed Salah out the World Cup. Our people are supposed to have beef with him, bro.
I understand. Shout out to Mo Salah
you
if you're
cannot
watching
give anything
this.
but respect to Ramos,
but
bro.
he's done it all, and it was a tactical foul he did to Salah. I hate to say it, I'm sorry. But yeah, he embodies the term leader, captain, winner. You know? And that's my favorite center back. So before a game, like, I like to throw his highlights on, and it kind of gives me a bit more confidence. Like, I watch him, I see how he does it, and I'm like, wow, that was nice. Like, obviously, I'm not at that same level, but it's like, I kind of like get entertained, and I'm like, okay, now I'm kind of getting Sergio Ramos' confidence and gonna go into the game feeling good. Always trying to keep a familiar meal, pasta, chicken, get your protein and carbs, and just like chilling out. You know, listening to some good music, and when it's time to go to the field, go and run through the physical warm up. I have no crazy like what do they call those superstitions and whatnot. Nothing. It's anything that'll like ease me, get my body ready, and go into the game. That's about it.
In my very limited like sports experience, so when I was on a couple school teams in football, I was on a couple school teams in basketball. I found a big difference in like that one, like pressure and performing, is like as cheesy as and as the cliches it is to say, is during the game how you frame your mind. So like it's kind of a fight or flight response for me. So for example, I had like 2 games back to back way back in high school for football, right? So I used to play center back as well. So I had a game where I was like very clumsy. I was almost my first game in the team. I've been trying to make the team for like 2-3 years now, and I finally made it. This is my first game. What can I do? What if I mess up? Whatever. I had a garbage first half. I put it together a little bit second half, but I had a garbage first half. They hit like 3 goals from my side, right? The second game, we went to another school, and over there so I saw my team was a bit shaky around me, right? Like people were a bit unsure. So then I had to switch myself. I was like, okay, the whole team's shaky, so I now need to be the rock.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You
Suddenly,
need to step up.
When I framed it like that, when I said I need to be like, because people around me are not as confident, so if I need to be the one who holds it down, suddenly I started being more calm because I had that responsibility ingrained. So for example, my passes were more direct, quicker, right? They reached the target. My clearances were better. My tackles were sharper, you know? Just because I was like, okay, this team needs saving somehow, so I need to do something. That's the most important thing is if you believe in yourself, if you believe in, and a lot of times it's fake it till you make it. 100%. I had to tell myself like I was probably like maybe the second worst or third worst defender on the team with like we had 7-8 defenders, right? I was not that good on the average of the team. But then I faked it myself. I was like, okay, the whole team's underperforming. The center back that I just subbed on for in the team, that he just ate 4 goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I really really the team's already in mud. So I need to do
You
something.
can't make
It's
it
on
any
me.
worse. Yeah.
It's on me now to. If I can either think, how can I not make it worse, or I can either think, how can I make it better? And if I have the second mindset, I'm able to go in and actually make an impact, even if I don't have as much ability. Because technical mistakes, 1-2 mistakes, and you get in the flow of the game, fine. But if the confidence is shaken, the whole game will be shaken.
Yeah. Like, this might sound a little corny, but self-talk and, you know, positivity from within is one of the biggest things that kind of keeps me tame and sane in a match.
Did you hear what Kawhi used to say? Kawhi Leonard, he used to do stuff like that in college.
He
used to be like, get a rebound and be like, board man gets paid.
Yeah.
And he had all that stuff.
It's more like, if I receive a ball and I'm getting pressed, I kind of try and tell myself, all I say is 2 words, like time and space. And it kind of calms me down. It's like, okay, I have time and I have space. I can make the right decision. Instead of being antsy, receiving it, maybe making a bobbly pass and it goes the other way. And another one is like, just before the match as well, like, you know, you're the best defender in this league, you know, kind of just hyping myself up from within. You can get your coach giving you good words, your parents, but when it comes from within, it's really gonna pay off the most, I find. So there's little technique here and there that kind of fights those jitters that you might feel leading up to an important match or a game, and I just try and take advantage of them, use them to my advantage.
And so, okay, back to the timeline.
Yeah.
You went to Lebanon.
Yeah.
You're not there anymore. First of all, how long did you spend there? How was living as a part of a community, being introduced as a stranger to a community that was already formed? How was that? How was it to be away from your parents? And why are you no longer in Lebanon?
Yeah, so I landed in Lebanon and they were just starting their preseason training camp. You know, so it's physical, exhausting, 2 sessions a day. So example of how the day would look like is, you know, I get up nice and early, 7-8 a.m. And first thing was, you know, in the gym, weights, conditioning. Sometimes we'd go to the beach and we would have sand work, or we would be in the pool. So kind of get all that dirty work out of the way, go back home, bite to eat, you know. The best part is they're taking care of everything, you know, food, meals, it was all on them. And we were also, like, the foreigners were assigned a driver. So we didn't have to drive ourselves anywhere. Everything was covered. There's no stress. All we had to do was perform. Go back home after the morning session, eat, relax. Around 4 or 5 o'clock, go to actual technical training with the team, you know. At the time when I went there, a big reason I was excited was the coach of the club was German. And he had, if you had looked at his profile from before, he had been with Union Berlin Academy, all the Wolfsburg, and these, you know, they've been in the Bundesliga. So he has connections and he has a great resume. He's also the South Korea national team assistant coach. So he's, you know, I knew that, you know, I'm going to be playing for a respectable coach, and I can really develop under this guy. And the best part about this was he only spoke English. So the assistant coach would translate to the players in Arabic, and then he would say his words in English. We have a translator. But when he's talking directly to me, it was English. It was nice and simple. Of course, I speak Arabic, but there's still like the slang in Lebanon and a couple phrases and words that I wasn't able to catch. But like I was a little fluent. I did what I could.
Yeah, because you're diaspora, so you grew up abroad and then going back.
Exactly. And you know, even just like I learned the language just from speaking with my parents. You know, and kind of not in education in school, coming up with.
Do you read and write?
I can't read or write, but I speak it.
Fair enough.
I know. I didn't pay attention in Friday school. You know, never paid attention. But yeah.
Did you feel like an outsider when you came in? Like, how was that?
I mean, you have to think of it as it was my first professional opportunity with the top division club. There is a lot of pressure in that in itself. On top of that, there's a lot of news that goes around. There was a lot of media. You know, there's players coming from Canada to like on trial and might join this team. And of course, if you're a player in the club that I'm coming to, you're a homegrown player. and you hear that a player from outside coming, he might take your spot. And when he might take your spot, he might take your food, he might take your salary, you know. How do you feel about him already? You already see him as a competitor, an enemy, a threat. But at the end of the day, this guy might be your future teammate. But in that period where I'm just in training camp, I'm an outsider. I'm not signed with the team yet. So they don't have to treat me properly. You know, they don't owe me. They don't owe me anything. I would say there was a part of the club that was welcoming, and then a part that kind of like neutral, you know, a couple words, and then a part that was like, you know, we don't really care about you. I'm focused on me. Kind of just turned me away, and like I caught everything, and I knew who I could open up to, and knew who kind of just stick away from. But like I was just focused on making this opportunity worth it. I wasn't gonna buy into all of that stuff, you know.
Do you still keep contact with anyone from that team?
I do actually. Like I have a handful of players from the club that I'll keep in touch with. Even some guys like the director of the team and actually the coach. He ended up leaving the club actually a couple months after me. He resigned and went back to Germany. I keep in touch with all these guys on WhatsApp, and like we always check up on each other, you know, talk about football and talk about life. It's, you know, I made a lot of bonds there that I think will stick with me for life. And to answer your question, I was there from June 2021 all the way to early September 2021. So basically the whole summer, three months, 3 and a bit. And so the big thing was my whole family is in Lebanon. The only family I have here are my parents and my 2 siblings, brother and sister. But it's kind of like people don't understand the pro life is, I don't want to say it like this, but it can be said, it's almost like a robot. You know, Monday to Friday, it's eat, sleep, train, repeat, back at it, you know? And the gaffer would give us Sunday or this odd Saturday off, and I would be able to go an hour and a half away to the village and spend it with my family. You know, teta, jado, my aunts, uncles, everyone. But from the Monday to Friday, it's physically and mentally demanding. You're exhausted. You know, playing here and then going and playing in the heat in Lebanon. Like I was like hallucinating after the first game. I went home and I.
We know about those training sessions in 40-degree weather.
I slept for 14 hours after our first exhibition. So I'll lead into this. This is kind of how I broke onto the scene. In preseason, you play a lot of exhibitions, right? Just friendlies to get ready for the actual season. So coach obviously wants to see us in game for the foreigners that were coming in. And he threw us into this preseason tournament. Game number 1, I'm in the starting lineup. I'm nervous, you know, it's my first game, and the fans there are ultras, you know, they die and bleed for this club. They don't have much going on in their country, so you know, football is in everyone's blood there.
Yeah.
You know? A lot of pressure. It's my first time where I'm playing in a professional environment for fans that are diehards for the club. And I don't want to seem full of myself or anything, but that 90 minutes, I killed it. You know, I really asserted myself. The first 5-10 minutes, I was easing into the game, but I really I picked it up quick. I felt confident. The only thing was, like the heat. I was exhausted, but I fought through. I made great tackles. I was very calm on the ball. Right after the ref blew the whistle, the coach, Robert Jasper, the German head coach, he came up to me and he gave me a big hug and said, he's like, I'm so proud of you. You're a great talent today, one of the key players. And, you know, that's so much that goes right to your confidence. So I started to feel really good, and that's when I was like, okay, like this opportunity
maybe I'm
might
pretty
work
sick,
out.
you know.
Like, like this opportunity might work out for me. And I was starting to win over the fans because you go to a supermarket and they notice your face, even though you're a trialist.
Yeah.
Can I get a photo with you?
You were taking photos.
No, listen, I have to tell you this crazy story.
Oh my god.
Okay.
So there was
How many followers do you have on Instagram?
it's not a crazy amount, you know. I left the club, so I might have lost a couple followers as well.
Are you actually checking
I'm
right
gonna
now?
pull this out.
Okay, well,
It's nothing
continue.
crazy. It's probably like 1,200. So
Well, 1K is still good, bro. I have like 500.
So there's a supermarket beside our training venue, and there was this young boy, probably like 10 years old. Every time he would see me walk in when I would need to grab a couple of things for the house, run up to me, give me a big hug, grab my cart and he would wheel it for me.
Wow.
And I said no, like let me wheel it. And he insisted. He's like, what do you need to grab? He was grabbing stuff off the shelf. Like they love their diehards for the club. They love the players, and it's
Dude,
like
that's
it's my
beautiful,
first
man.
time feeling like I felt so nice. You know, I felt kind of gassed up. Like I have these little fans. They wanted photos. They wanted like signings and everything. So and it's funny that I have him on Facebook and I still talk to him to this day. Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's
So
adorable.
it's amazing. We always keep in touch. You know, it's big on like voice messages. So
Yeah.
it's nice to hear his voice.
I think, bro, to keep like a positive influence in these young kids'
100%.
lives, you know, and just help steer them, bro. Like, that's already out of your whole trip. If you gained, obviously you gained a lot, but if you gained nothing, that's like a crazy thing to leave with.
I'm a kid myself, and I know how that feels. You know, to have kind of the role models and someone you're really supporting, and if they're interacting with you and they're friendly with you, you know, it goes a really long way.
Mm-hmm.
The best part about the story is when I took a soccer ball from the club, brought it to him, and just kind of had it signed. I had it signed, and a couple of the other guys had signed it. Gave it to him. You should have seen the smile on his face. Lit up the whole supermarket. So that's probably like a memory that's gonna stick with me forever. But it's little things like that. Like you see how much they buy into like football back down there.
It's
So
not a
that
game,
was-
bro. It's so much more than
It's,
a
life.
it's more than a game. Everyone says
So
it.
much
It's a
more than a
lifestyle.
game.
You know.
Yeah.
It's life. Football, like, people who grew up in Canada and USA, they probably don't know. But even for those of us, like for me, I was not ever the best football player. I was never that guy on the field, but I can like tell you everybody whether you're good, whether
He was
you're
never
bad.
on the field. Sorry.
That's so cap. But whatever your like level of skill, it wasn't something that you had to play. It was a lifestyle for everybody. It'd be times where like when the Iraqi national team will come on, bro, like moms that never watch football in their life will come sit with you and
Yeah.
watch intently. You know, like
it's the passion and inspiring. It's like all the pros say. Like I learned everything with the ball at my feet.
Yeah.
Learned everything about life with the ball at my feet, and that quote goes such a long way. You know.
yeah.
Yeah. So
How'd you deal with missing your family when you're away? Like we've dealt with that a lot. Like I know Zaid had the deepest and hardest experience with this. Because when Zaid came, he was completely alone.
He
Like
came
when
first, yeah,
I
yeah.
came, I had Zaid.
Yeah, yeah.
you
He
know?
came.
So if I fell down, Zaid is there, you know. But you came here as a stranger. You completely new. You have no one.
Yeah.
You know, we have some family members, but like
they're
in
not
the
like
city,
they're in different cities. They're like
In
I'm
the
here.
city, you're alone,
Yeah, I'm here by
you know?
myself.
Yeah.
how like I know about Zaid's struggles with that. How were yours?
For me, like my parents are everything. I'm a big mama's boy,
Mm.
you know. And when obviously like I said, all my family's in Lebanon, but it's not like I'm on vacation and spending time with them all the time.
You're on
It's
your
more-
job.
I'm here for a professional opportunity, and you know I'm getting paid, and you know I have work to do, and being away from the village where they all live, it kind of like it takes a toll on you, and your parents are 13-hour plane ride away, you know. The only thing I could get from my parents is like a voicemail on WhatsApp or like a phone call, and it's really not enough. It's not the same as like hugging your mom. So
100%.
and my friends as well here, you know. You talk on Snapchat, Instagram, text, it's not the same. And I was they had me in my own condo by myself, right? It was great. Very nice condo in downtown Beirut. I had everything around me. The beach wasn't too far. But it's more about that homesickness. It's like, man, imagine if my brother was here experiencing this.
How
with
old's your
me.
brother?
My brother is 24.
Okay,
Yeah.
very similar.
Like
very close.
imagine if my sister and brother were here, or my best friends, and we could go out together. Like my teammates, we would go out and, you know, try restaurants out, go for dessert, you know, go watch football at a cafe. But it's like, you know,
Yeah,
some
like
of them
if
have a closer bond.
Yeah,
with,
yeah,
like he
yeah,
was
yeah.
here with me, and sometimes like you're on your own. You get home from training and you're like, I have so much time to kill. I'm alone.
What do I do?
And like, you kind of get sad. Like damn, like I miss my friends, my family. I wish I kind of had them with me. But I think what stuck with me was I was starting to put in good performances, and I knew I had their support, and they were looking over me, and that's really all I needed.
Were they always
all I
watching your
needed
games
from
live?
them. Yeah, so it's crazy. My dad is like he knows this. He's a big workaholic. He's always, you know, work consumes him, but he did a lot when he came here from Lebanon with nothing. And this guy would leave work, go home around his lunch, when my games were on because of the 7-hour time difference,
Yeah.
right? So it would be in the morning here, it would be in the evening in Lebanon. And my sister would send me photos of like him 2 centimeters away from the TV screen watching me. And the best part was the commentators would always have nice things to say about me in Arabic. And it really touched my dad. Like he still talks about, he told me it 2 days ago, he's telling me about like, oh, remember when the commentator said, remember this name, Ahmad Mansour, like he's gonna be a bright like future for Lebanon soccer. Yeah, like it's something that stuck with him. So, yeah,
So why'd you leave Lebanon soccer?
What happened? And what was the next steps for you in football?
Yeah. So I ended up signing a professional contract there. Everything, it's under FIFA, and I was getting paid. Everything was set up for me, and so what happened was a big factor was University of Waterloo says we're shifting back in person. Now take in that in the summer that I was there, I was taking 2 classes online, and electricity cuts out, and I had electricity majority of the time. It was a little weak. Like the condo we were set up with was, well taken care of, but it would cut out for everyone in the country. It's really unpredictable. I could be doing a quiz on Learn, and it cuts out. And you really think the professor, if I gotta explain everything to them, like I'm in Lebanon, their Wi-Fi is poor, I don't know if I can get that message across to every prof. But that was a big factor. Like
And you weren't willing to sacrifice your degree to play professionally?
It was like, I always think about having a backup plan. Like, what if my knee got caved in? What do I have to fall back on? It wasn't a huge sacrifice to say, you know what? Maybe I go back to Canada, finish off my last year. Literally, it was just 1 year. I had 1 more year of my undergrad left. So it was like, let me go back, finish it, and then I can pursue anything I want with nothing holding me back. I was really thinking about my education in the back of my mind, and my parents were saying, like, consider it. If you want to delay it, my mom said this thing that stuck with me. You can always study, but you can't always play. So I made the decision, you know what, I want to come back. But it was also some other factors. Some might know that like Lebanon is going through economic crisis. The dollar and the Lebanese pound are so far off, and like there's inflation. So it wasn't the great situation down there. There was a lot of violence. Hard to find stuff in the grocery store. I mean, I was just kind of like a bit like a depressing environment away from the field. Like I love the sport, but when you go away, it was a bit tough to see everything. There's this story that I'll never forget. You can't go to training today. They're shooting at each other. I'm warming up in my living room, just doing my mobility stretching. I get a call from my driver. I'm getting ready to go to training. He calls me. He says, I can't take you today. They want you to stay home. The city we're going to drive through to get to the training is called Khalde, and it was just militia and locals shooting at each other. They might fight over the dumbest stuff, but they always pull out the AKs and everything. Like they have to get their guns involved. That's one of the biggest things I hate about the country. It's just how easy it is to just have a gun on your side, and if something gets heated of the moment, anything can pop off. And another story building off of that is I got caught in a big fight on the street. I'm driving home with my driver. There's these 2 young groups, teenagers, fighting, throwing rocks at each other first. So we're waiting it out. We don't want to cross and have anything hit us until I see one of them fed up, go back to his car. He pulls out a rifle. All his friends run to him, of course, and say, put that away, what are you doing? Imagine how it could have escalated. There's a lot of people in Lebanon that die because of stray bullets. Weddings they fire into the air.
Iraq has the same problem too. Iraq has the same problem.
There was a player in the club that I was playing for 2 years before I got there. He had died from a stray bullet. He was just in downtown, hit him in the head, dropped. It's these stories, and when you see it for yourself in your own eyes, like I see a gun, I said to myself, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here. It's not safe. Maybe I came bad timing. I love the country. Don't get me wrong. It has my full heart, but you have to look for your best interest at the end of the day. And when your parents hear that from 13 hours away, they say, like, come home, and I don't want anything to happen to you. And if you don't feel safe, that's the biggest thing. So when I talked to my agent and I went to sit down with the president, He told me, if you were my son, I would want to bring you home to safety. So I'm not gonna make you pay a fine. I'm not gonna wrap you into this contract. I'm gonna let you leave.
Bless him. Bless
Very
him.
like, you know,
Allah barak fi.
sometimes you might get wrapped into politics and controversial like directors of a club, but this guy has a pure heart. Nabil Badr, the president of Ansar. And no, everything worked out. They were able to release me, and I was, you know, they were like a man of their word, is what I'm gonna say. They had covered my flight to go back home as well.
MashaAllah.
You know what I'm saying? They're losing money if they cover my. Why would they pay for my flight back home? Why not make me pay? Say that.
Yeah, they don't want your service anymore. Like,
why would they
they're
pay?
still- yeah,
like
yeah.
you see how much like they treat me
Ihtiram,
like
yeah.
ihtiram. They treat me like family. It was that's when I
That's
knew like I
beautiful,
had
bro.
I was in good hands there, and I thanked them. I was grateful. I thanked everyone that helped me along the way. But I think the right decision was to come back home, finish off school, and I know I got my name out there. I have professional experience under my belt. Now it's like, what's the next step now?
So what is the next step?
Deep question. The next step is
If you don't mind me touching on that.
drum roll. No, so in full honesty, right now I'm just playing with a local club in the second division here.
bro,
It's
this guy is still working hard. Like, you're playing for that club in Hamilton.
Yeah.
Bro, I can never get him to come to anything I want to do. Any trails we've been on, we went to Niagara,
Yeah, it's
whatever.
bad time.
He's always like, no, I'm training. No, I have a game.
I don't like to burn myself out, but this sport is part of my blood. I watch any game that's on TV. Like I watched Everton versus Crystal Palace. I have
That
no
was a
business watching.
crazy
It was a crazy game, but it's like you're fighting to stay in the league.
Yeah.
But it's just I'll watch the Bulgarian league. I'll watch anything. I just love this sport, and I don't want to burn out. So I really plan out my training, and it's unfortunate that you always want to make plans when I'm trying to train. You know.
It's
I have to-
weekends. What do you want to do? You want me to call you
like,
on the weekdays?
There's no, yeah. So I'm playing here with a team in Hamilton. I'm working individually with a trainer, and there's a couple opportunities that are popping up. I don't want to give up too much information.
Inshallah khair.
Inshallah,
Without saying
of
too much.
course.
Can we expect to see you starting like next season?
Yeah, like inshallah later on, like late summer when the transfer windows opens up, there's a couple opportunities lined up. Nothing signed in paper, but I'll definitely be back on the professional scene fighting for a
Inshallah,
spot.
yeah, with God's help,
Inshallah.
inshallah,
Yeah,
we pray for
Definitely
that. Obviously,
pray
there's
for you, bro.
there's no guarantees in
There's
life, but
nothing
we
guaranteed in
like
life.
we
I'm
give
just,
you our full support, inshallah, and hopefully
I
you'll
mean,
make
I
it out there.
appreciate
You know?
it, you too.
100%.
And that's the biggest thing is all I can do, like the ball's in my court to just work hard, and when the opportunity is there, just be ready and go and take
But
it.
you also hit the lottery with getting great connections.
100%. When you go overseas and you network like that, I have so many people reaching out to me. I have WhatsApp, email. My video is out there. It's like young Canadian center back, dual citizenship. It's kind of like I have some perks that I could add to a club, you know. And along that note, it's like there's opportunities in Europe, there's opportunities in Asia, but there's also opportunities in the Gulf countries where you know
That's a lot of football leagues are popping off over there.
If you ever play in Dubai, I'll make sure my family back home comes to one of your games.
Of course, inshallah. But there's nothing, you know, written concrete right now of my next move. But there's a couple opportunities, alhamdulillah, lined
move in
up.
silence, bro. Inshallah,
That's
it'll
all
come.
it is
Yeah,
now.
move in
That's
silence.
all it
yeah.
is now. So yeah, that's
But,
that's how
inshallah,
it's
so
looking
exciting.
right now.
I know like we kind of stretched for time, but I got like a couple more questions if you don't mind me asking you.
100%.
So first of all, I would say like we talked about a little bit about the cutoff. So what age is too old for like pursuing? But what would you say to somebody? Let's say you come from a background of like similar to you or even less advantaged. So maybe like lower income backgrounds or people who have disadvantages in life, right? Young people who want to pursue this as a passion and they don't know where to start. Let's say in Canada, for example, in Ontario, where do they go? What do you tell them?
I would say,
They play crazy in their neighborhood.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is, man, just play the sport every day. It can be in your backyard. It can be pickup runs here. It can be at the local field. Play the sport as much as you can, and if you see a local club that you're interested in playing for, reach out. Don't be shy that I might not have the funding. My parents might not be in a situation to pay. Nowadays, it's changed. if a team wants you, you might have advantage to play for free.
And if you hit like 10 clubs, one of them maybe can...
Like get yourself. That's the big thing. Get exposure. Get your name out there. Go show them you have the talent, and the whole registration and money will cover itself. I'm telling you.
You know,
Don't be
one thing I never did when I was younger and I was playing a lot, because I was shy to do it. I never made people take videos of me.
Yeah.
Now I realize how important that is to get it taped.
It's crazy how much the media has influenced the game. Back then they didn't have any of that, but it's more exposure. That's it.
You
That's
might,
all it is.
a scout might see something off of Instagram, might decide, okay, I want to go to one of his games.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like,
That's
I want to
all
go
it is.
see where he plays in the neighborhood or something.
You don't know how far it goes. You don't know who's at the end of that video. So get your name out there, get your video out there, and network as much as you can. You can find everything on the internet now. Reach out, use all these resources to your advantage and just do as much as you can. That's my advice to someone in that position that you mentioned,
Yeah, man, for sure. And so the second question I wanted you to ask is like just to lead off
You
the...
wanted him to ask?
No, I wanted to ask him. Sorry,
yeah.
my bad.
We
Is...
gotta wrap up soon, by the way.
Yeah, we will. The second question I wanted to ask is, so I have experience, not experience, but like just as a fan of the Iraqi national team, right? Because we're from Iraq and...
You said you played the national team once, right?
So it's
Under-
the under 23s. You get called up to, obviously when you hit that pro level and you start to get experience under your belt, and if you're in my situation where you can get a citizenship passport through your parents, it opens up your eligibility to play, like with the Lebanese national team, for example. And I have a friend here who's actually in Mississauga, and he played for the Iraqi national team. He went over to Spain. He was playing in lower division clubs, but that's like I told you, bro. His name traveled around. It's
What's
like
his name?
Amir Kanani.
I need to look him up.
Yeah, I have a mutual friend with him, and he was telling me about his background, and he got a look, and he played with the Iraqi national team. He has like the under 23s, and like you got Zidane Iqbal from Manchester United on that
That's
team.
our guy. That's
so
the
it's
future.
like so you gotta, that's your Mo Salah.
Yeah.
So like, if he's playing out in Spain and they learn that he can play, he's eligible to play for the Iraqi team, they're gonna snatch him up. So it's
They don't want him to get called somewhere else. For his dual
they'll
citizenship.
play for Canada or whatnot. So it's like the opportunity is there for the taking.
Yeah. So basically, the whole idea was dealing with, like, in watching and observing the Iraqi national team, and it's unfortunate to say, but in our country, there's a lot of corruption in the national team, and as there is in every element of the country, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But seeing that players not being taken care of, I was surprised to hear that the club took care of you, because a lot of our players, especially the ones from abroad, they pay their own tickets to go to represent. They do their own things. They're not taken care of. Their papers are processed inefficiently when they want to get the passports. How did you and obviously, like, not to, like, obviously we love Lebanon and we love everything about the country, but how was did you see any of that?
100%. I saw it day in, day out, because sometimes players weren't getting paid on time, and it's like they wouldn't come to training. I'm not coming to training until you pay me. It's like, you show up to training, where's this guy? Oh, he's not coming today. He's having problems with the club. And sometimes, the club's like, yeah, your money's coming, and you as a pro, like, you have a family to feed there, and for some players, it's not paying all the bills, especially with the circumstance right now. I saw it everywhere, and especially on, like, I think I am grateful that I was able to go with the top team in the division, where they have more funding, they have more money. The president of the club is an international businessman, so everything was taken care of. It was on time. But you do see in, like, the lower clubs, it's like there's a lot of guys getting scammed. There's no way a lower club could afford a plane ticket to bring a guy in. They have to shuffle their money and focus on, like, the internal part of the club. But it's funny you mention it. The Iraqi league has a lot of Lebanese players. They go out there because they might get paid in US dollars. Meanwhile, if I'm a local and a homegrown player playing in the Lebanese league, I'm getting paid Lebanese pounds, and with inflation, this money is nothing. So they start to want to try and go outwards.
So they come. A lot of them come to Iraq too. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I've seen a lot of. I know a couple players that went out there. They don't stay long. I can't say like they make like a 5-year run in the Iraqi league, but they go out there. They're able to make some US dollars. The team covers everything, and then they come back. You know.
Makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, I think that's the one. I guess not like kind of positive, but that is the Iraqi league is kind of stabilizing a little bit.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
we're able
slowly.
back in like 09 or 10, like we weren't attracting any non-Iraqis whatsoever. You have the
You'd
one
be
odd
surprised. It's
odd
growing now.
Nigerian
Yeah,
player, or
like
the one
it's-
odd. But now you're actually seeing like, bro, there's like Brazilians in
I'm
the
telling
Iraqi
you,
league.
I'm telling you, it's everything is starting to grow now. There's a lot of money in this sport, and it's growing in every country. So let's keep hoping, inshallah, that it keeps developing. In
Inshallah.
Iraq, you know?
And national team fans, especially Arab countries, support your players. Don't shit on your players when they play bad.
Yeah.
Like don't be the guy who goes online and insults this player and their family and their mother. Bro, there's players
Do it
that
in private like Zaid.
No, I don't do that. That's cap.
Don't lie.
That's cap.
Don't lie.
Don't throw.
The Iraqi national team, I've never insulted anybody.
Don't throw a chair at me onto the field. Don't.
No,
you know,
what-
Story
throw
time.
stuff.
Story time.
Wait,
Story time.
am I about to get exposed?
Story time. So someone on this table, and it wasn't me, has previously thrown their slipper at the Iraqi
Wasn't
national
me.
team when we were
Okay,
watching
see,
them on
big
TV.
difference. Big difference.
Yeah?
I'd never like.
We lost the Gulf
insulted-
Cup final to the UAE.
I never insulted. No, we won that game.
No, we
Did
lost
we
that
lose
game.
or we lost that
We
game?
lost that game.
But there wasn't me like hating on the player. It was me in frustration. I'm a fan.
Yeah,
right?
there's
There's a difference, right?
Emotions come.
Then
with-
why the
like,
TV?
emotions
Why don't you
come
throw it
with
at the wall? TV is like, if I spat on the TV, I'm spitting on who's watching.
closest
No,
thing
that's-
to you.
Yeah,
you know?
it's the
It's what you're
source of
looking
my
at.
frustration.
Yes.
Right. Okay, but here's the thing: is what I'm trying to say. Like, you see, like players.
Exposed.
You see,
Sorry.
there's like players who like they get death threats. They go out and perform, and they don't do that one. People are like, "I'm gonna come find you and kill your family."
Like
type
that's
of
too
stuff.
far.
Bro,
That's
you know
a
what? I
sport
actually,
at the end of the day.
there's so much more I want to talk about. Like, I don't want this
we
episode to
we
end.
might have to have a episode
two.
2 one
Part
day.
you know
Part
what?
two.
When
If
you
we-
get signed,
Yeah,
okay?
If
come
we
back.
get,
Yeah.
Inshallah,
uh,
I'll come back here.
If we get 10 likes on YouTube, this is how low the bar is. If we get 10 likes on YouTube, we'll bring Ahmed back. We'll do another episode
Look,
because
no,
there's
let's
so
Bring
much
me
on.
back, man.
Let's be 20 likes.
20. If we
Because
get 20 likes,
we can hit 15 sometimes.
I have 3 YouTube accounts, so 17 more, and then we can bring Ahmed back and talk some more.
That sounds
But
good,
towards
man.
the end of every episode, we like to ask our guests to look down into the camera and offer one piece of advice. If there's one thing you can say to any listener,
The guy
what is
wasn't
it?
listening the whole episode. He's listening now. What do you want it to take away?
Yeah, so this one has stuck with me like throughout my whole life, and it's a pretty basic one, but it goes a long way. Hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard.
Yes.
It's like that one.
In every avenue in life.
Every avenue in life, that's the biggest thing. Like it touches every single aspect. Just remember that line, and it'll push you a long way.
Shout out Rehan, shout out Mr. Mosley. That was my friend's quotes and my teacher back in UAE.
I liked Mr. Mosley. He was a nice guy.
Mr. Mosby.
Mr. Mosley.
Yeah.
He was, he actually bullied me a lot.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that.
Oh, he was nice
But-
to me. I didn't know about that. He was nice.
Anyways, Ahmed, bro, it's been a huge pleasure.
Appreciate
Thank you so
you
much
guys
for coming
having me
on.
today.
Of course, man. Of course.
sure, for
You know, it was
sure.
a great
Love-
discussion. You
loving
added a lot
this
to the.
podcast.
You added a lot to the podcast. I'm sure our listeners enjoyed. Before we sign off, real quick, please, if you guys made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, rate us on Spotify, review us on Apple Podcasts. It really makes a big difference when our videos hit more likes and stuff because it gets us out more in the algorithm. So we really, really appreciate that. And with that being said, can we do a post for the thumbnail of the episode really quick? Just pose in front of the camera for the
Yeah.
YouTube thumbnail. And with that, thank you so much again for joining.
Have a good night, everyone.
Pleasure to have you.
We out.